touched on, hardware backups subject to failure, theft, and loss, particularly failure. In fact, IBM did a study where more than 60% of the tapes that they looked at over a 5-year period had errors upon recovery, which is a staggering failure rate. Whereas with online backup, data is available immediately, fully encrypted, uses military level of encryption, and I literally mean military-grade encryption. Is stored redundantly, so the data is nearly always in 3 places. From an access to data standpoint, hardware backup is usually isolated and only available to IT, whereas with online backup you've got this wonderful new paradigm where all the users have access to their data. So I can pull out my iPhone or my BlackBerry or my iPad and I can actually flip through all of the data that I've backed up to the SOS cloud over the last 5 years, which is an extremely powerful ancillary benefit of using a cloud-based backup solution, particularly the SOS solution. Most of our competitors don't focus on access the way we do, but access to us is a very, very important additional benefit of cloud-based backup, that once it's in the cloud, we can now start to do new and exciting things with that data. From a cost standpoint, hardware-based backup, clearly more expensive than online backup, and certainly very capital intensive for the customers. And then finally, in the dark blue, for you as partners, online backup represents higher revenue for you, or more revenue, and it represents revenue at a much higher margin that's recurring. So instead of just a once-off sales commission on selling a $5,000 tape backup solution, you can now make $500 a year from that same customer on an ongoing basis by selling them a service. So what we want to try and do for you is to convert backup from being a customer pain point for you and a cost center for you into both a sales and profit center for your business. So another series of questions we often get is the size of the market, and I won't spend too much time on these economic statistics, just to give you the flavor of it. The question that we get most specifically from partners is, how much opportunity really is there here, and have I missed the boat? Have I approached this too late? And the answer is, it's a large opportunity, and no, I don't think you have. The backup industry globally is roughly a $10 billion market, and that's split, of course, 9 ways. Between consumer, small business, and enterprise in terms of market sectors, and between hardware, software, and services in terms of the product or offering. Online backup, in terms of how much of that $10 billion market online backup is going to take, look, it's a matter of great debate among CEOs and pundits in the industry, but everybody seems to agree it's going to grow to be a $6 or $7 or $8 billion industry. That backup's the final cloud-based backup's the final destination in terms of backup technology. We're going to see tape and disk recede into being legacy technologies. It is all going to move to the cloud, whether it's private cloud or public cloud, and that process is already underway. The consumer online backup industry is at $700 million already, and the small business and enterprise space is growing rapidly. So in terms of how much growth we have ahead of us, the online backup industry is probably going to grow 6 or 7 times compared to what it is right now in terms of annual revenues. So still a lot of opportunity in front of us. I think we're at an important inflection point in the market because this is no longer an early adopter technology. It's now a mass market technology that people understand and is being widely adopted in all 3 market segments. All right, so enough of the business background. Let's look at the technology. And this is often the part of the presentation where we have the most questions, so please don't be shy. The SOS technology stack's built around 4 key concepts. SOS seeks to help you protect data, access that data, share that data, and manage that data. When we say protect, we're talking about hardcore backup and recovery operations. When we're talking about access, it's what I mentioned earlier, that now that your data is protected and in the cloud, what else can we do with it? And one of the things we focus on quite uniquely is making data available to you. So my aforementioned example with the iPhone is a very serious example. There's a great story from one of our customers who was on the golf course on a Sunday morning and got a phone call from a client who was trying to recover a file that for a presentation they'd prepared 2 years ago. And the partner in question literally pulled his iPhone out of his pocket, searched through the backup archive for the customer in question, found the file, and sent it to him without leaving the green. Now, that kind of operation previously would have taken days and days of searching through through backup archives. And the fact that we now can have instantaneous, immediate, fully indexed, searchable access to our data from any mobile device is actually a pretty profound advancement in data access. Sharing, whether it's to business colleagues or to friends and family, sharing data out securely is a very important part of our technology as well. And then management. Again, often an overlooked part of an overall online backup solution, but very, very important. If you've got 500 PCs all backing up to the cloud, how are you going to manage all of those? And so we've got a lot of great technology that helps you do that. So I'll turn now and look at, and just talk about some of the key features of the SOS technology solution. Generally, from a product standpoint, what we attempt to do is throw everything in. What I mean by that is we don't charge for additional functionality. So going through continuous data protection, CDP, typically in backup software, CDP modules can cost as much as $1,000 or $2,000 to add on to your existing license. Not so with SOS, where we just bake it into the technology out of the box. So you can have SOS watch files, and as soon as they change, those files will be backed up to the cloud. Unlimited computers. What we mean by this is, in contrast to, say, Mozy, where you need to have a license for every PC and pay for that license just to be connected, SOS doesn't require that. SOS lets you connect hundreds of computers to an account to back up to the cloud with no fees, no license fees. Now, you as a partner could charge your customers license fees if you wanted to, but you don't have to. Again, a very powerful feature. The more computers that you've got connected to SOS, the more powerful the platform gets. Global roaming access. This refers to that real-time access I was talking about through any browser. So whether it's a mobile browser or just a web browser, I can access and share and stream and watch and view and analyze my data in the cloud from anywhere. Access on iPhone. We've got a rich iPhone client. Also got a BlackBerry client. We're hoping to release an Android client later this year. But we've also got a mobile portal which can be accessed from any cell phone device. So these clients that we're talking about here can actually back up your iPhone or back up your BlackBerry, whereas our access client lets you access, stream, recover, share your data, and you can do that from any web-enabled mobile device. Free integrated local backup. This is important. We always think, when we think about backup, we always think about having a backup to your backup. So we don't encourage customers to abandon local backup and move to the cloud. We encourage doing both. Local backup can be very useful if you need to do a rapid recovery or backup or recover a lot of data. Cloud-based backup is terrific for the most important data, the data you need access to. So we've got a full local backup solution baked into the product. A question here from Linda. Are the smartphone clients free? Yes, they are. And the smartphone clients can also be rebranded to your business. Linda, are you interested in becoming a partner? Sometimes we get different people in the audience with different interests. But if you are a partner or a potential partner, Linda, then we can actually rebrand all of this technology, including the mobile clients, to your business and your brand. I should be clear about that. There is a fee for rebranding the mobile client, so it's free for use for customers, but if you're a partner, there's a rebranding fee. Isra asks, so smart clients can be backed up. That's right, Isra, for BlackBerry and iPhone, not for any other platforms yet. But we'll have Android later this year, and then we'll have Windows Mobile as well, particularly since the whole Nokia Microsoft announcement. That's become a lot more important in terms of our forward-looking product roadmap. In terms of security, SOS has sort of led the way, frankly, when it comes to security. When Mozy and Carbonite and SOS all entered the scene back in 2006, it was very common for backup vendors to be able to access the files that were being stored in the cloud, whereas we've always believed it's vital for business that the backup vendor not be able to access data. So we developed what we call our ultra-safe security system, which is a private key encryption system, which means that if customers are using the ultra-safe option, that data is completely unrecoverable by SOS and only recoverable by the originator of that backup, which is very important for customers who are subject to some of the regulatory frameworks, such as the HIPAA framework, Sarbanes-Oxley, some of the other regulatory frameworks in place for financial services, government, and education industries. Compression and transfer. We only transfer the binary difference in files. So if a file changes between 2 days, we don't just retransfer the file. We'll only transfer the binary delta, the ones and zeros that have actually changed between the 2 days. Isra also asks, are we PCI compliant? Absolutely, Isra. Not only is SOS company PCI compliant, but the backup technology itself is PCI compliant backup. So you can use it to back up PCI data. Backup sets can be filtered intelligently to exclude or include the type of content you need to protect. Physical media upload. This refers to our technology where you can seed the backup set by sending us the data on physical media, and we'll upload it for you. Powerful recovery. We developed a time machine-like feature which allows you to roll back your PC or your cloud environment, the replica of your PC, to any given point in time on a snapshot basis. Now, when coupled with our unlimited versioning system, this is of vital importance because we keep for free, we keep an unlimited history of versions. That same file we were talking about, if it changes every day, then for a year, we'll keep 365 versions of that file, which can become, which sounds wonderful, it sounds very powerful, and it is, but managing 365 versions would be a nightmare if you had to. But you don't have to manage it. All you have to do is pick the point in time at which you'd like to recover to, and we'll roll it back to that point and do all of the version management. You can do explicit version control as well. Perhaps it's too small on the screen, but in this screenshot, the customer is selecting from a list of versions for a given file. You can see he's got quite a few versions